you ever wondered how someone could influence your thoughts without you even realizing it? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of mind control through psychology. From subtle suggestions to powerful persuasion techniques, psychology offers a toolkit that can shape the way we think, feel, and act. In this video, we'll explore the methods used to guide your decisions, often without your conscious awareness. Let's start by understanding what mind control really means and why it's such a powerful concept in our everyday lives. Mind control isn't about magic or science fiction. It's the process of influencing someone's thoughts, beliefs, or actions using psychological techniques. This can happen in everyday conversations, advertising, or even social media. The key is that these influences often bypass our conscious defenses, making us more susceptible to suggestion. Understanding the basics of mind control helps us recognize when it's happening and empowers us to make more informed choices. One of the simplest yet most effective tools in psychological mind control is suggestion. When someone subtly plants an idea in your mind, you may find yourself thinking or acting on it later, often without realizing where it came from. This technique is used everywhere, from sales pitches to everyday conversations. The power of suggestion works best when it's gentle and indirect, making it feel like your own idea. Humans are social creatures, and we often look to others for cues on how to behave. Social proof is a psychological phenomenon where we assume the actions of others reflect correct behavior. Peer pressure is a more direct form where people encourage us to conform. Both can be powerful tools for mind control, nudging us to make choices we might not otherwise consider. We're wired to respect authority figures, whether it's a boss, teacher, or expert. This respect can make us more likely to follow instructions or believe information without questioning it. Psychologists have shown that people often obey authority even when it goes against their own judgment. Recognizing this tendency helps us pause and think critically before simply following orders. This classic psychological trick involves getting someone to agree to a small request first, making them more likely to agree to a larger one later. For example, if you agree to answer a quick survey, you might be more open to a follow-up call. This gradual escalation builds trust and compliance, making it a favorite tool in sales and persuasion. Opposite to the previous method, this technique starts with a large, unreasonable request that's likely to be refused. After the refusal, a smaller request is made, which seems more reasonable by comparison. This contrast effect makes people more likely to agree to the second request, even if they wouldn't have otherwise. The more we hear or see something, the more likely we are to believe it or accept it as true. This is known as the mere exposure effect. Advertisers and politicians use repetition to make their messages stick in our minds. Over time, repeated ideas can shape our beliefs and preferences, often without us noticing. How information is presented can dramatically affect our decisions. This is called framing. For example, describing meat as 90% lean sounds more appealing than 10% fat, even though both mean the same thing. The words and context used can guide our perceptions and choices, making framing a subtle but powerful tool. Emotions are a direct pathway to our decision-making centers. Advertisers, politicians, and even friends may use emotional stories or images to sway our opinions. When we feel strong emotions, we're less likely to think critically and more likely to act impulsively. Recognizing emotional appeals helps us pause and consider our choices more carefully. When something seems rare or time-limited, we're more likely to want it. This is the principle behind limited time offers and only a few left messages. Scarcity and urgency trigger a fear of missing out, pushing us to make quick decisions. Marketers use these tactics to nudge us into buying or acting fast. People feel compelled to return favors. If someone does something nice for us, we're more likely to do something in return. This principle is often used in marketing, like when you receive a free sample and feel obligated to buy. Reciprocity creates a sense of social obligation that can be harnessed for influence. The first piece of information we hear about something sets a mental anchor, influencing our later judgments. For example, if you see a high price first, a lower price seems like a bargain. Anchoring is used in negotiations and pricing strategies to steer our perceptions and decisions. Priming happens when exposure to one idea influences our response to another. For example, seeing words related to old age can make people walk more slowly. Priming is subtle but can shape our thoughts and behaviors in surprising ways, often without our awareness. We naturally seek out information that confirms what we already believe and ignore what contradicts it. This is called confirmation bias. Influencers can exploit this by presenting information that aligns with our views, making us more likely to accept their message without question. Sometimes, we're given options that seem different but actually lead to the same outcome. This illusion of choice makes us feel in control while guiding us toward a predetermined decision. Marketers and negotiators use this tactic to steer our actions while letting us believe we're making the choice. Mirroring is when someone subtly copies your body language, tone, or words to build rapport. This creates a sense of connection and trust, making you more open to influence. Skilled communicators use mirroring to make you feel understood and comfortable, paving the way for persuasion. When we like one thing about a person, we tend to assume other positive traits as well. This is known as the halo effect. For example, if someone is attractive or confident, we might also believe they're trustworthy or intelligent. The halo effect can bias our judgments and make us more susceptible to influence. Fear is a powerful motivator. When people or organizations use fear, they can push us to act quickly or accept solutions we might otherwise question. Recognizing when fear is being used to influence us helps us step back and evaluate the situation more rationally. Hearing the same message over and over makes it feel more true. This is why slogans and catchphrases are repeated in advertising and politics. Over time, repetition can shape our beliefs and attitudes, even if we don't consciously agree with the message at first. Subliminal messages are signals or cues presented below the threshold of conscious awareness. While their effectiveness is debated, some believe these hidden messages can influence our attitudes and behaviors. Subliminal techniques are sometimes used in advertising or media to plant ideas without us noticing. Trust is the foundation of influence. When we trust someone, we're more likely to accept their ideas and follow their suggestions. Building trust can be as simple as being consistent, honest, and showing empathy. Influencers work hard to gain our trust before guiding our decisions. Groupthink occurs when the desire for harmony in a group leads to poor decision-making. People suppress dissenting opinions to maintain consensus, making the group more susceptible to influence. Recognizing groupthink helps us encourage open discussion and critical thinking. When we see others adopting a belief or behavior, we're more likely to join in. This is the bandwagon effect. It's why trends catch on quickly and why social proof is so effective. The more people do something, the more likely we are to follow. Scarcity makes things seem more valuable. When opportunities or items are limited, we feel pressure to act quickly. This psychological trigger is used in sales, marketing, and even relationships to push us toward decisions we might not otherwise make. Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort we feel when our beliefs and actions don't match. To reduce this discomfort, we often change our beliefs or justify our actions. Influencers can use this to nudge us toward new attitudes or behaviors by creating situations where our current beliefs feel uncomfortable. Repetition is a key tool in shaping beliefs. When we hear something repeatedly, it becomes familiar and feels true, even if it's not. This is why propaganda and advertising rely so heavily on repeating messages. Over time, repetition can change our attitudes and behaviors. The Zeigarnik effect is our tendency to remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. Marketers use this by creating open loops like cliffhangers or incomplete stories to keep us engaged and wanting more. This psychological trick keeps our attention focused where they want it. Stories are one of the most effective ways to influence minds. When we hear a compelling story, we become emotionally involved and more open to new ideas. Storytelling bypasses our logical defenses and connects directly with our emotions, making it a favorite tool for persuasion. We tend to overestimate how much others agree with us. This is the false consensus effect. When influencers suggest that everyone is doing it, we're more likely to conform, believing our views are widely shared. This effect can be used to nudge us toward certain behaviors or beliefs. The decoy effect happens when an extra, less attractive option is added to make another choice look better. Marketers use this by presenting 3 options where the middle one is designed to be the most appealing. This steers us toward the choice they want us to make. We tend to value things more highly simply because we own them. This is the endowment effect. Marketers use this by letting us try products or personalize options, making us more likely to buy. The sense of ownership increases our attachment and willingness to commit. The Pygmalion effect shows that higher expectations lead to better performance. When someone believes in us, we're more likely to succeed. Influencers use this by expressing confidence in our abilities, motivating us to meet those expectations. The placebo effect is when we experience real changes just because we believe something will work, even if it's inactive. This shows the power of belief and expectation in shaping our experiences. Influencers can use this by building positive expectations. Labels can shape how we see ourselves and others. When we're labeled as smart or troublemaker, we often act in ways that fit those labels. Influencers use labeling to guide behavior and set expectations, sometimes without us realizing it. Defaults are preset options that we tend to stick with. For example, if a box is checked by default, most people leave it that way. Influencers use defaults to guide our choices without us noticing, making it easier to steer behavior. We like to be consistent with our past actions and beliefs. Influencers use this by getting us to make small commitments, which makes us more likely to follow through with bigger ones. Consistency is a powerful motivator for behavior change. Scarcity makes us want things more. When something is rare or exclusive, it feels more valuable. Marketers use this by limiting availability or creating exclusive offers, pushing us to act quickly before we miss out. Social media platforms are designed to capture our attention and influence our behavior. Algorithms show us content that reinforces our beliefs and keeps us engaged. Influencers use likes, shares, and comments to guide our opinions and actions, often without us realizing the subtle effects. Persuasion is the art of changing someone's mind through reasoning or emotional appeal. Skilled persuaders use a mix of logic, emotion, and credibility to influence our decisions. Understanding these techniques helps us recognize when we're being persuaded and make more conscious choices. Reframing is changing the way we look at a situation to alter its meaning. Influencers use reframing to turn problems into opportunities or to make negative events seem positive. This shift in perspective can change our feelings and actions. Repetition is a recurring theme in mind control. The more we hear or see something, the more likely we are to accept it. This is why repeated exposure is so effective in shaping beliefs and behaviors, whether in advertising, media, or personal relationships. Now that we've explored how psychology can be used to control our minds, it's important to know how to resist. Awareness is the first step. By recognizing these techniques, we can pause, reflect, and make more deliberate choices. Critical thinking, questioning sources, and seeking diverse perspectives help us stay in control of our own minds. Building mental defenses means developing habits that protect us from unwanted influence. This includes staying informed, practicing mindfulness, and setting boundaries with media and social interactions. By strengthening our mental resilience, we can better navigate a world full of psychological persuasion. Mind control through psychology is all around us, but knowledge is power. By understanding these techniques, we can recognize when someone is trying to influence us and take back control of our thoughts and actions. Stay curious, stay critical, and remember, your mind is your own. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the psychology of influence.